Out of the Waukesha Christmas parade tragedy, jurors in the Darrell Brooks trial are coming to court with overnight bags today.
Yes, those jurors could be in for a marathon day and night as the trial nears the finish line now in its fourth week.
Of course, the timeline has been very hard to pin down with this trial. As Fox 6 investigator Brian Polson joins us once again. The day ahead, there's a lot that could happen. What do we expect?
Here I'm about to clear my throat. Judge Dorrough may need to do the same thing a few times today. She's going to need to keep a glass of water handy, maybe a throat lozenge. She's going to be reading through more than 100 pages of jury instructions today. That's going to take up the bulk of the day. The judge says jury instructions alone could take 5 to 6 hours. After that, she has set aside 1 hour for each side to deliver closing arguments. But on Monday, a defiant Darrell Brooks said he will not be delivering a closing argument Tuesday. He seemed to be hinting that he prefers to do his closing at a later date. And when the judge tried to explain it doesn't work that way, this happened.
If you choose not to give one,
how's that lawful law?
sir, if you choose not to give one, you're not letting me finish, and you're mocking me right now, which is incredibly disrespectful once again.
Okay,
You didn't even let me get my sentence out.
You always want to make an incorrect record. Go ahead, change your incorrect record. Go ahead.
That is how much of the trial went on Monday, with Brooks once again exiled to an adjacent courtroom where the judge could control his microphone. Brooks yelled loudly at times, so loudly, in fact, the judge says other courtrooms could hear him even with his microphone off. And I know, Nicola, earlier you were talking about how he was stacking up boxes in front of his face and just all sorts of antics to try to, who knows, stall, delay, disrupt. But nonetheless, the case continues to move forward.
It almost looked like he was trying to build like a barricade or some sort of fort there in front of his desk. Bizarre, to say the least. Let's talk a little bit about these closing arguments. What can we expect from Brooks at this point?
So we don't know if he's going to give one or not. He sort of suggested yesterday he didn't want to, but if he decides to, Judge Dorrough has said she expects it to be, her words, a challenging experience, as Brooks has already promised to tell the jury things that the judge says he's not allowed to tell them. For example, Brooks has apparently researched a legal theory known as jury nullification. It's essentially the notion that juries have the power to simply go into that room and ignore the law, vote however they want, because what happens in the jury room is secret. Brooks said he intends to tell the jury they have that power, but the judge says he has no right to do that, and she is prepared with a jury instruction of her own if he goes down that road. That's just one of a number of things the judge is preparing for Brooks to sort of go off script and do things he's not allowed to do.
It's prepare for the unexpected, right?
We've been saying that all along.
For this trial, as we try to do that for ourselves this morning, getting ready for what's ahead. You mentioned the overnight bags. Is there a chance if closing arguments happen today, the jury actually begins deliberations, or would that wait till tomorrow?
The judge seems to think she wants to get those closings in today. She'd like the jury to start deliberating, but she said whether or not they actually deliberate tonight or wait until tomorrow, we're going to see how that goes. It's up to them. She did say bring your overnight bags, because once they begin deliberating, they will be sequestered. That means they won't be allowed to go home to their families. The 3 remaining alternate jurors will also be sequestered, but separately from the 12 who are deliberating. If they decide to break for tonight and then pick it up tomorrow morning and do their deliberating then, they will go to a hotel before returning to the courthouse tomorrow morning. The judge seemed to think she really wants it to happen this way. She's trying to move this along. So, again, those jurors could be in for a very long day today.
Brian, just like we're following this very closely, so many of our viewers are watching this. And if you check social media, a lot of people in the comments are thinking that this is going to be a very quick verdict. Is there any way to think otherwise, that it may not be as quick as people are thinking?
It's understandable why people would say that, because obviously Brooks has not really presented a singular defense theory, and the witnesses he called seem to help the state more than him. But that doesn't necessarily mean this will be fast. Remember, there are 76 individual distinct criminal charges. If the jury follows the instructions and follows the rules, assuming they go through them one by one, that's 107 pages of material to work through. So even if they're unanimous from the outset in their views of his innocence or guilt, reaching a verdict on all 76 counts could take time. And reading that verdict in court is not going to be fast like we're used to with trials. That could take, 10 minutes or more as well.
Great. All right. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. And we are going to stick with this story throughout the day and throughout the verdict as well. Make sure to follow Fox 6.